Hi, my name's Lori Westphal, and I'm the author of the Differentiated Instruction with Menus series. And I wanted to take a few seconds today to talk to you about the new series that's coming out in 2012-2013. It's specifically designed for the inclusive classroom. I've been receiving, quite a few emails over the past 2 or 3 weeks when people had found out that the Inclusive Classroom series was going to be coming out. And the majority of the questions are asking, how are they going to be different than the current series? And although I've been going through and writing it all down, and I did put an author's note in the beginning of the Inclusive book, I thought it would be pretty quick for me to just go ahead, make a video, show you all, and get it all out of the way. First, in order to really understand the difference, we need to start with the current series that's out, the Differentiated Instruction with Menus. And I'm going to call this the White Book for our purposes, just because it is white, and that way I don't have to say the whole title, because it is quite a mouthful, over and over and over. The White Book was originally designed, it came out in 2007, the very first one, and it was designed with the gifted in mind. Meaning that when I spoke to people about it, I said, these are 3 through 5 gifted menus, which means that some of the content might be a little bit advanced, some of the products might be a little bit advanced, but it was specifically designed with our gifted in mind. Now, teachers being teachers, we're not going to let the fact that just because it's gifted stop us from using it, even if we don't have gifted students. And that's exactly what has happened with this series. It's become incredibly popular. And even though it says grades 3 through 5 at the top, that does not stop our middle school on-level teachers from using it, and it doesn't stop our high school special ed teachers from using a grade 3 through 5 book. The ideas are good. The menus are good. So I've had a lot of teachers talking to me, saying, hey, we really like these books. It's just I'm modifying quite a bit to make it work. And that's completely fine. Modifications, we do it all the time. But when it comes to menus and choice and our special ed and our on-level students, the publisher, Proofrock, and I started talking. We said, wouldn't it be good, though, if we could design something that would be grade level specific but designed more for our special ed and our on-level students? That is exactly what the inclusive book is. And I actually have a copy of our math one. They just came out. By the time you see this video, they'll probably be out all over. But for me, they just came out. This one has a yellow cover, so I'm going to call my inclusive copy the yellow book. So as we go through and discuss, I'll say yellow and white. It'll make it a little bit more clear. Our yellow book, you'll see that it says grades 3 through 5. This book is specifically designed for our special ed and on-level students, meaning the menus that are here are written for them. In our white book, our gifted book, if we had a point-based menu and the goal of the point-based menu was 100 points, that was for the gifted student. And I know the teachers were going through and making contracts with students where if they had modifications, perhaps rather than 100, they needed 60 because that was more appropriate for our special education students. What we actually have with our yellow book now is this book, the child is contracted for 100 points because it's written directly for our special education students and our on-level students. Now, the one thing I do have to warn you, I know teachers and they like to do the flip test. They pick up the book, they flip through it, they go, if you flip through the yellow book, it will look very much like the white book. So I want to take a second and kind of explain to you what the difference between the yellow and the white book are as far as their menus. The white books all have between 28 and 32 grade levels specific for our gifted menus. In order to design the yellow book, I chose 20 of the best, most sought topics for each of the different books. So our yellow book has 20 different topics, but for each topic it has 2 menus. It has a lower level version and an on-level version. And what we tried to do was make these menus look as close to the white book as possible. That's so that if you have gifted, on-level, and special ed all in one classroom, you actually can use what appears to be the same menu with everybody, but they're all tiered. And I'll give you an example so you can kind of know what I'm talking about. In our white book, I just happened to pick our math. I'm going to look at the prime and composite number menu, just happened to be the one that I picked out. It has a graphic at the very bottom of a young lady Isn't this fun? Yes. Has a graphic at the bottom with a young lady with a calculator. If we go to our yellow book and find the same topic menu, which we do have, prime and composite numbers is one of those key ones that our students need help with, you will see the same graphic at the bottom of this menu and at the bottom of that menu. They actually appear all the same. The one big difference to help the teacher is the code at the very top. You'll find at the top of this one, I'm going to make sure I point to it, a triangle. The triangle designates a lower level menu. You'll find on the other one a circle. Otherwise, they appear the same. The circle represents our on-level menu. By the way, our white books, they don't have any code. So if you pick the gifted menu, it would be the one without a symbol. So as you go through, you could in fact use, if you had anywhere from special ed, on-level, and gifted, you could use 3 different menus all in the same classroom, but they would appear the same. You also, if you don't have any gifted students, but you want to be able to have additional practice for your special education students, you can pick the triangle menu for them because it allows them to stay at a lower level activity a little bit longer. They've all gone through, all of the different modifications are here, and all of the levels have been changed. Basically what we've done in the yellow book is I've done the modifications that the teachers are spending all of their time already doing. There's a few other things that have changed for the yellow book when we compare them, and these are based on feedback that I had received from teachers. First of all, I had a lot of grade 3 through 5 teachers purchasing the K through 2 white books because of the product guidelines and the rubrics. And here's what they liked. They liked that the K through 2 product guidelines had graphics. It helps their ELL students, it helps their bilingual students, and it helps their special ed to help them remember. They also liked that the K through 2 have a graphic for their rubric. So here's what I did in the inclusive book. You're going to find, don't you love that I marked all the pages and, anyway. In the inclusive book, this is the yellow book. This is grade 3 through 5. All of the product guidelines now have graphics. And these graphics are similar to the ones in the K through 2. The product guideline cards are also significantly larger. That makes it a little bit easier. The print's a little bit better for our special ed students. So we've changed the product guidelines based on requests that you guys had made, so you have the graphics. The other thing you'll find, as I mentioned earlier, the rubric now has graphics. Although the other rubric is very effective, the one from the white book, although it is very effective for our gifted students and even some of our on-level students, what we found is if it's a first exposure to rubrics, students really can use the visual to help them remember. So the big difference between the yellow and the white as far as product guidelines and rubrics, this has the graphics. This has the clip art. This is a lot more visual for those students who need the additional support for the rubric and product guidelines. As far as the menu goes, the ultimate bottom line, what do you need and why? If you have AP advanced level gifted students, the white book is for you. That's who it's written for. Use it as is. If you have special ed and on level only, and you don't need a lot of extra stretch, the yellow book is for you, and you won't have to do any modifications. You've got 2 different menu options for every topic. You pick. Just because it has a triangle, which means that it's for the lower level, does not mean that you're always going to use it with the lower level. So pick this one. If you have, which could very well happen, we all know, special ed, bilingual, on level, advanced level, and gifted, you may need both. Because then you can use your special ed on level and gifted. You have 3 completely different options. So that's kind of the basis of what the big difference is and what do you really need or not need. I'm hoping this will clear up some of the questions. If it doesn't, I'm going to put my email address at the end. You are more than welcome to send me an email and I'll answer any further questions that you have. But I hope it helped a little bit. And I hope that the dogs didn't make too much noise in the background and distract you too much. Have a great day.